Well, we managed to last an entire 15 minutes before Trump was hit with another scandal. That's right, Trump is absolutely out of his mind, and he is hands down one of the most corrupt presidents we've ever witnessed. And now Trump's corruption is out in plain sight. Pun intended, because ABC News just dropped a devastating Sunday bombshell on Donald Trump, and he's not going to be happy about it. How's it going, everybody? Hunter Avallone here with Occupy Democrats. Welcome back to another video. Now, we're going to get to this devastating bombshell in a moment, but first, are you guys aware that Laura Loomer might be the secret vice president? Obviously, I'm joking about that, but it is very concerning the amount of influence that Laura Loomer has. In fact, recently, an ex-staffer went on MSNBC to explain how concerning this really is.
How have you heard? I've heard a little bit of rumblings of some of the staffers around President Trump who are actually supposed to have power and influence getting a little frustrated with this happening with the Laura Loomers of the world, with definitely Elon Musk.
Well, I was told that Susie Wiles was going to make sure that these kinds of clown-like figures weren't coming into the Oval Office or weren't getting on the phone with the president and having that kind of access to power. And obviously, it seems like you can only do so much. I think she has to kind of pick and choose her battles. And so with Laura Loomer, obviously, she's still getting through to Trump, still being very influential in these hiring decisions or firing decisions. And that is very scary to think that a far-right conspiracy theorist has the president's ear. And unfortunately, it seems like, though, that she has a lot of power, and then some of these other bad actors do as well.
And to make matters worse, Trump doesn't only have Laura Loomer whispering in his ear, he also has Howard Lutnick, the United States Secretary of Commerce, who also happens to be a total idiot.
You mentioned the UK agreement. You were the lead negotiator there, aside from the president, of course. And it does, you mentioned some of the aspects of it, but one other aspect is that it keeps in place a 10% across-the-board tariff on goods imported to the U.S. from the UK. As you know, the cost of tariffs are paid by American consumers. We've been talking about this. So should Americans be prepared?
I disagree with that, you know.
Well, okay, but most economists, I would say, disagree with you on that, and we have seen it being passed off time and time again to the American consumer.
But of course, if Trump is being advised by idiots, Trump himself is also an idiot. And Trump recently floated an idiotic idea of reopening Alcatraz. After this bizarre announcement, a Trump voter went to Alcatraz to try and support Donald Trump's crazy idea. It didn't go well for the guy.
How much do you think it would cost for them to renovate Alcatraz?
Billions.
Billions of dollars.
None of the pipes are working. They're all rusted out, corroded. The concrete is 110 years old and hasn't had any maintenance on it. There are places where you could stick your hand through the wall. They have to do an entire renovation of everything.
And now all of this nonsense has led to the moment you've been waiting for. That's right, ABC News has dropped a devastating Sunday bombshell on Donald Trump, and it raises a lot of ethical concerns for America.
In a jaw-dropping move that's already raising serious legal and ethical concerns, the Trump administration is preparing to accept what may be the most expensive foreign gift in U.S. history: a $400 million Boeing 747-8 jumbo jet from the royal family of Qatar. The opulently customized aircraft, nicknamed the Flying Palace, will serve as a temporary new Air Force One during Trump's second term, before being handed over to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation as a donation. But here's the kicker: taxpayers are footing the bill. The U.S. Air Force will pay for all modifications to the plane to meet presidential transport standards, including top-tier communications and security systems. And once it's deemed unfit for presidential use, the government will also pay to transfer the plane to Trump's private foundation by January 2029. How is this legal? The Trump White House is exploiting a loophole. According to internal memos reviewed by ABC News, Trump's legal team, including Attorney General Pam Bondi and White House counsel David Warrington, concluded that because the plane is technically being given to the federal government first, and only later transferred to Trump's library, It doesn't violate the Constitution's ban on foreign gifts or federal bribery laws. Critics argue it's a blatant workaround, one that lets Trump personally benefit from a foreign power's donation, with the American taxpayer left to cover the costs. No official comment yet from the DOJ, the Qatari embassy, or the White House.
I'm just trying to imagine how conservatives would react if Biden did something like this. So basically, long story short, because it's technically being gifted to Trump's private foundation after the government, it somehow does not meet the qualifications for bribery or corruption. But are you honestly going to tell me that a massive country is going to gift Donald Trump a $400 million airplane and then not try and use that for their own advantage? Clearly, Trump is selfish and he's using the White House to grow his own personal wealth. This has already been demonstrated. Sadly, Trump is getting richer while Americans get poorer.